It is refreshing to be in a district that has vision and is also coupled with legacy. It's not just new vision, it's old vision. Brother Hartman, he's the original men's ministry. I knew about him before I knew about any of y'all. You can't say men's ministry without talking about him. And so you are caught up in the draft of that legacy and that sacrifice. And what's going on today ties back to getting some things right from the very beginning. And then you pass that heritage and that legacy into Brother Minui and into and he's got a weird name, but I've got a weird name too. So we got that in common. I've heard these men who've known you their whole life don't even know how to say your name right. I've heard Minui and Minui and Minui and I've heard all kind of stuff. They don't even know your name. So I don't feel bad if I get it right, but I think I got it right. So, all right, I got it right. Mine's Walea. It doesn't look like it, but it is. I don't know. I'm going to talk a little bit, just taking you back to what I feel. If there were only one thing that I could tell you, this would be the thing that I would tell you. And if you've got your Bibles, I'm going to start in Genesis chapter 12. Let me start my timer going. That doesn't mean anything. I just know how long I've been going. Genesis chapter 12, verse number 1. Now the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will shew thee. I will make of thee a great nation. I'll bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. I will bless them that bless thee. I will curse him that curseth thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. 75. There goes the I'm too old excuse. 75, he was just getting started. His greatest ministry years were still ahead. I'm thankful for a multi-generational church. I'm thankful for seasoned saints who still know how to say yes. I'm thankful for young people who take the baton and run with it and run well. Abram's blessing didn't begin with a platform, though. It began with a departure. His blessing began when he stepped out. And he changed the whole trajectory of a nation and of a people with his yes. I want to talk to you in this closing session. I'm going to title this, The Blessing of the Broom Closet. The Blessing of the Broom Closet. Let me tell you where my blessing started. And I wasn't sure that I was going to do this session, and when I walked in last night and I saw this gymnasium that we're in, I thought, yep, that's what I'm going to talk about. As a kid, I served in the church where my father pastored. And just after I graduated high school, we built a family life center. It had a gymnasium just about like this right here. And my first ministry job, quote unquote, in the church was dust mopping the basketball court. It was not glamorous. Nobody applauded. Nobody posted about how well I had dust mopped the floor. I'm not sure anybody even knew that I did it at all. But here's what I discovered quick as an 18-year-old that had grown up in church, grown up with a front row seat to ministry, and I'd see people singing on the platform, and I wanted to do that. And I'd see people preaching in the pulpit, and I wanted to do that. And I wanted to do this, and I wanted to do that. And I wound up with a dust mop in my hand. Here's what I discovered, though. It was a blessing to me. It was small. It was easy. It was anonymous. And I'm just wired in such a way that small, easy, and anonymous brought me a whole lot of joy. And the secret was not the mop. I would walk back and forth, and if you've ever done that, if you get the real big one, it's got a really long handle, you can kind of be lazy with it and rest it on your shoulder, and you just walk like this with it. And I'd walk back and forth, and I'd do the whole gymnasium floor, and it had dust on it before. When I got done, it didn't have dust on it, so I thought, good job. But I would walk back and forth under those basketball goals, and I started praying while I mopped. And what started as a small, very non-spiritual task for me became an altar in my life. What started as maintenance became worship. And it taught me something that I have never forgotten. Your blessing waits at the point of your yes. Your blessing waits at the point and at the place and at the moment that you give God your yes. For me, that was the door of a 24-inch closet that contained a few brooms, a few mops, a dust mop, a mop bucket, a fire extinguisher, and randomly a helium tank. I still don't know what that was in there for. But I found my blessing waiting on me there. Romans 12:1 says, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. Service is sacrifice, and sacrifice is worship. And worship is the thing that invites heaven to invade the ordinary. It can just be as simple as dust mopping a gym floor. There is nothing inherently special or unique or spiritual about it, but there was a blessing waiting in my yes. And churches all over this world are facilitated by people who just do simple things with excellence. They do tasks in anonymity that nobody ever pats them on the back and says, good job. Nobody ever says thank you. Nobody even knows in many cases that they're the one who does it. But they do it because they've caught the revelation that there is a blessing waiting at the point of your yes to God. Whether it's great things or big things, or whether it's small anonymous things. When you offer yourself to God, when you just say, whatever it is, Pastor, I want to help. Whatever it is you need, I want to be a part of it. Whatever we're building, I'm going to hold the hammer. Whatever it is that God is directing you to do, I give God a yes. I give you a yes. And I step into the greatest blessing of my life when I just say, God, whatever it is, whatever you want from me, I want to do it with all of my heart. I told the nursery workers at our church one time that they needed to be aware that on the other side of a very frustrating job, there is no job more frustrating, men, than those sweet women who handle the nursery at your church. And I told ours one time, I gathered them together and said, I need to tell you a story. I need to tell you the story that you don't know about the mother of one of the children that's in the nursery. You don't know that she lives in this city and she's got no family here. She's got 2 kids. She works 3 jobs. She's just trying to keep her life afloat. And she walks into the house on a Sunday morning. And she drops that baby off in the nursery. And she takes her 4-year-old to Sunday school. And for an hour and a half on a Sunday morning, she spends time in the presence of God and gets what she needs to just get up and do it all again tomorrow, and just the strength to keep going. And I said to them, you have to understand, you're not changing a diaper, you're changing a life. And in simple, ordinary service, there is something so beautiful and something so majestic and something so powerful when people rise up and say, God, I give you my yes. I'll serve without applause. I'll serve when nobody says thank you, because there is a blessing on my soul and on my life when I simply give God my yes. It's changing diapers. It's mopping gym floors. It's putting batteries in microphones, unlocking doors, vacuuming, turning on lights. It's simple, but it's all worship. And we have to change our mindset about it. The altar does not prepare itself. Somewhere you've got to have some people who have a view of serving God and see everything big and small as, this is my divine assignment from God. This is my privilege. For us together, somebody had to come in here and change these microphone batteries. Somebody unlocked and relocked the door. Somebody turned on the air conditioner. Somebody swept this floor. Somebody lined up the chairs and set them out. Somebody made the coffee. I walked in this morning. Some of you were in here praying this very morning. People realize there's just a divine assignment in gathering together. Church elves are not real. You go home to your church tomorrow, and all the stuff that happens that you don't know how it happens. We got graphics on the screen, and the lights are on, and the sound is run, and the floors are clean, and there's people at the door waving people in and waving at them in the parking lot. Maybe you got coffee and you got donuts. That didn't just show up by itself. There's a tribe of people that buy into the fact that there is an incredible blessing that comes over my life when I offer God my yes. There's no church elves. They don't just come with a building. Everything is touched by a person who says, it is my privilege. It is my divine assignment from God, and there's a blessing waiting at my yes. And look, you can vacuum a floor because the floor is dirty. That's fine. Or you can vacuum a floor out of the revelation that it is your holy moment to prepare a space for somebody to meet Jesus Christ for the very first time. It's all in how you look at it. Those nursery workers can sit in that room as babysitters, or they can say, this is my divine opportunity to put something eternal into the heart of a child and change the trajectory of a family forever. Whatever you do, if you understand that there's a blessing that waits on the other side of that small act, you will never again call it just something. Oh, I just changed the batteries. Oh, I just dust mop the floor. Oh, I just do it. It's no big deal. Oh, it's a very big deal. There's no big important jobs and little unimportant jobs in the kingdom of God. It's all of us carrying the load together. We live in a culture that loves celebrity, and we bring it into the church. And I'm the guy that gets to be called pastor, and it's easy to get pulled into that celebrity culture and me start thinking, oh, man, I'm the guy that makes everything happen here. I know that's not the case. I step up on a Sunday morning, and there are dozens and dozens and dozens of people that have worked, and they have prayed, and they have prepared, and they've shined up everything, and they've cleaned up the building, and they're working in the parking lot, and they're greeting guests at the door, and it's all of us working together saying, you know what, if it's something big or if it's something small, it is an absolute privilege to stand in this place and do this thing. This is my holy assignment from God, and it's a privilege to serve and to get to say yes. You know, if you are a football fan, the only way that a football team wins is in their capacity to run the same play. If you field a team and everybody on the team decides, I'm just going to run my favorite play right now. Coach don't know what he's talking about. I'm just going to do my favorite thing that I get to do right now. Well, it's going to be a disaster. You're going to go backwards. Why? Because it only works when we all learn to run the same play. when we all understand what the goal is that we're trying to achieve. Well, what's the goal? Is the goal to be an impressive church? No, that's not the goal. It's not the goal. Is the goal to, have good music and good preaching? Well, I hope we have that, but that's not the goal. The goal is to get as many lost people found as possible. And when that becomes the goal, it's no longer about me. It's no longer about getting the credit. It's no longer about somebody patting me on the back. It's that, everything we do is for souls. Everything we do is for lost people. When I'm vacuuming the floor, it's because there's a lost person going to run into this room. And I want them to know that we care enough about them to prepare a place for them. We've got to run the same play. And the only play in the modern church that matters is that there are lost, dying people who are going to hell, and somebody's got to love them enough to give God a yes. Just give God a yes. We love preaching about great things. God's calling you to great things, and I believe that. I do. But biblically, far more often, God is calling us to ordinary things. Small things, faithful things, hidden things. It's just a broom. It's not spiritual, it's not dramatic, it's not dynamic, it certainly isn't impressive. But in the passes of the ordinary, did I just hear the voice of God under that basketball net? The voice of God is always easier to hear in a posture of servanthood, always. Always. 2 Corinthians 12:9, he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you. It's enough. My strength is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, most gladly, I will rather boast in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. There is nothing more countercultural in your Bible than that scripture right there. I will boast in my infirmities. I will talk about how unimpressive I am. I will glory in the fact that I am weak so that His strength can be made perfect in my weakness. Man, that's countercultural. We don't boast about that kind of stuff. We've learned to hide that kind of stuff. You don't want anybody to know your weakness, your infirmities. We love that strength being made perfect, and we love power of Christ resting on us. But he says the way that you get that is you get comfortable with the humility of saying, you know what, there's nothing great about me. This is all just ordinary. It's so very ordinary, but your one ordinary life is a stage for the glory of God to be displayed through. And so with your yes to simple things, to simple acts of service, God begins putting His power inside of your weakness. He starts hiding calling inside of your obedience. He hides legacy inside of very small yes moments, so He gets the glory. He gets the glory. And people who didn't know Him yesterday come to know Him today, because there is a tribe of people at the core of every successful church that say, we don't care who gets the credit. We don't care if we have to stay late. We don't care if we have to work twice as hard. It's all about getting people to Jesus. And so we just say yes. We just say yes. I've had to clarify to people sometimes in our church that get it backwards when we talk about stuff like this. Oh, you're just trying to get free labor. I've had somebody tell me that before. That our whole volunteer construct in churches, not just our church, but all churches, it's just about churches trying to get free labor out of people. No. And I said, what you have to understand is, I don't want anything from people. I want something for people. I want them to find the fulfillment and the blessing that comes with giving God a yes. And saying, I'll be faithful in great things. I'll be faithful in small things. I'll be faithful on public platforms, and I'll be faithful in private rooms. God gets the yes, and God gets the glory, and the kingdom gets the win because of people, ordinary people, who say, you know what, I just don't care. I just want God to use me. Whatever it is, however simple it is, however insignificant it seems, I just want to give Him my yes. And I told somebody, look, I don't suggest, I cannot be the model of successful pastoring. I honestly have no idea how I became a pastor. I never meant to be. I just kept saying yes to successive open doors, and I wound up doing something that I never thought I'd wind up doing. So I really can't claim to be a very good pastor. I try hard, but I can't claim to have it all together. So I don't suggest you do this. But one time, sometimes people just get the best of me. And somebody had one of these conversations with me and said, oh, you know, it was this dear sweet sister. I'm not going to talk about her because this may be recorded, and she would know. If she sees this, you know it's you. You know what I'm talking about. She doesn't attend our church anymore. May have had something to do with this conversation. I don't know. Y'all are just trying to. She didn't like that we were letting people who hadn't fully lined up with everything that she thought they needed to line up with, we were letting them get involved before she thought they were ready to get involved. You're just trying to get help, and you don't care if these people are holy or not. And it's not true. And I said, sister, we were doing just fine without you. We're not desperate for help. We're not creating jobs to just have something to do. That's not what it's about. We do this because people need something to do. We believe people were created with a divine, holy calling on their life. That God uniquely created you. He put giftings and talents and callings in every man in this room. Your unique, quirky personality that uniquely equips you to do something for God. However weird you are, there's somebody just as weird as you that's waiting on you to get there. There's somebody, whoever you are, whatever you have to offer. If you're the greatest preacher that ever lived and you're ready to preach a revival, or if you can't do anything but push a dust mop, which is where I started. It doesn't matter what you can do. It only matters that you get a yes in your spirit and a yes in your heart and a motive that says, I just want to serve God. I just want to be a part of the story. I don't care if I'm the lead actor or if I'm just an extra in the side of the frame. I just want to be a part of what God is doing in this day. If there's a revival, I want to be in the middle of it. If there's a way I can serve, I want to do it. Whatever it is, there's a blessing waiting at the point of your yes. And the revelation is that every act of service can be done unto the Lord. Colossians 3 says, whatever you do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance, for you serve the Lord Christ. That's in whatever you do. In whatever you do it heartily as if it's unto the Lord. Even if it's not unto the Lord. It's hard for me to tie mopping and sweeping to have anything to do with God. It really doesn't. But I did it as unto the Lord. It didn't say that everything you do is going to be deeply spiritual. It says that in everything you do, you can do it as a sacrifice of worship unto God. And when you begin to do that and you treat this like this isn't for men, this is for the Lord, you begin to receive a reward of inheritance because you are serving the Lord Christ in every ordinary thing you do. You don't serve the pastor. You don't serve the brand. You don't serve the crowd. You are serving Jesus. And don't let yourself get lost in the vocational to-do list and get bitter. Because it's never about the mop. It wasn't about the mop. It wasn't about the task. It was about my privilege to be a part of what God is doing, even in some simple, small way. One of my favorite scriptures in the Bible, 1 Corinthians 3:9. For we are God's fellow workers. How cool is that? You are God's field. You are God's building. I get to partner with Him. Here's the deal. Here's how this thing works. God's in the team building business. Now, I'm not a small guy. I'm not the biggest guy in the room, but if you want to come fight me, You can fight me, and you might beat me. You might whip me. I'll make you work for it, but you might take me out. But I guarantee you, if I start grabbing 2 or 3 guys to come stand up here with me, you might want to fight me, but you don't want to fight us. Because if we can get us together, us is a whole lot stronger than me. That's the beauty of team ministry. That's the beauty of saying, you know what? I'm not all that awesome by myself, but if I read my Bible right, when I start joining up on His team, we're God's fellow workers. You might want to fight me, but you don't want to fight us. And now us is stepping into the kingdom, and us is marching out with dominion, and us is saying, we're going to do this. We can take the city. We will see revival. We will reach the lost. We will preach the gospel, and we're doing it together. It's not just me. I get to be God's fellow worker. You are not a helper. You are a co-laborer. And your yes places you in partnership with God. Let me give you this. If you're a list guy, I'm a list guy. I like lists of things. So let me give you a few things. 5 ways to find the blessing in serving. Number 1, stop waiting to be noticed. If you want to be seen and you want affirmation, you will always struggle with ministry. Because the most meaningful ministry in my life has been unnoticed and anonymous. The people that I've impacted the most have not been from preaching in a pulpit. It's been from quiet conversations that nobody else even knew about. And so if I was doing it for applause, I've missed it. You will never get the applause that your flesh craves in ministry if you do it right. Why? Because He must increase and I must decrease. And so if I'm pursuing ministry properly, the best I'll ever get it is the moment that you don't even notice that I'm here. I was a worship leader long before I was a preacher. And I used to speak at a lot of music conferences. And I would tell worship leaders, you have got to fight against the pull of the spotlight. Your flesh craves the attention. And the best worship leaders are those that you're so enraptured in the presence of God that they've led you to, you don't even really remember who was leading the service. It's countercultural again. Flesh craves the spotlight, but the Spirit wants to pursue humility and say, this is all about shining a spotlight on Him. I don't even care if you remember that I preached this weekend. If you remember that He is your purpose and He is your source and He is your Savior, that's what it's all about. But number 1, stop waiting to be noticed. And look, I say this knowing there is nothing wrong with appreciation. Appreciation feels good, but if appreciation is the fuel, you will burn out the first time it doesn't come. And if you're in ministry, I promise you there will be more times it doesn't come than times it does. Hidden service tests your motives, and the broom closet is a motive filter. Jesus said in Matthew 6 that the Father who sees in secret rewards openly. That means heaven sees what earth overlooks, but earth will overlook it. Number 2, attach prayer to the task, whatever it is. Don't just sweep, pray. Don't just set up chairs, declare destiny. Don't just check people into kids' ministry, speak blessing over families. It's what turns a chore into worship. It's being intentional. So what if every graphic that the media team puts on a screen is an act of holy partnership with God? Every vacuum line in that carpet represents somebody's intercession. The moment that you attach prayer to a task, the task stops being small, and suddenly heaven invades the ordinary. You can do it at your house. You can do it at your church. You can do it on your job. Going through some of the little mindless, menial tasks that we do day in and day out, there are moments that you can say, oh, you know what, I really don't have time to pray. Can you pray while you're doing something else? And if you can learn how to do that, then on an ordinary day, just an ordinary, meaningless moment of the day can become holy ground on your job site, in your living room, not in a pulpit, but when you say, you know what, I'm going to attach prayer to the ordinary, and I'm going to turn the ordinary into something extraordinary. Number 3, connect your small act to someone's salvation. It will change how you see everything. that battery and that microphone may carry a message that saves a marriage today. So the battery that I put in the microphone is not just a simple act of a little transactional electronic thing that happened. It is my intention to say there is something holy attached to this ordinary thing. That nursery shift, the door that gets unlocked, all of it. If you can connect a small act to somebody's salvation, it's not small anymore. Number 4, refuse comparison. Oh, this is a big one. So many people sit motionless and unactivated because they compare themselves to somebody else. And they say, well, I'm not as gifted as so-and-so. I'm not as good at it as they are. Comparison robs you of the joy of obedience. God did not ask you to be me. You can't be me. He asked you to be you. God made you like you are. I read it to you earlier. Paul said his strength is made perfect in my weakness, which means your limitation is not disqualifying. It just sets God up for the win. So the excuse can't be, well, I'm not good enough at this to do it yet. No, it's never been about you and how good you are. It's that God desires to show off His greatness through your weakness. So what you think disqualifies you is actually the thing that God is looking for. He's not looking for superstars. Superstars will say, you know what, I did that. I'm talented. I'm good at that. Look at me. He's looking for the anonymous, quiet person who says, you know what, I really don't even know if I'd be good at this thing, but I guess if God wants me to do it, I guess I'll give Him my yes. And on the other side of that yes is an open door and is a blessing and is a miracle and is a salvation and is something that you could never do on your... If you could do it by yourself, you'd take the credit. But because you know that you can't do it by yourself, God gets the credit and the kingdom gets the win. And number 5, treat the ordinary like it is holy. Pentecostals spend a lot of time waiting for holy moments. But most of the time, holy moments are disguised as ordinary opportunities. Jesus was a carpenter for 30 years. 30 years hidden, 3 years public. So if hidden, quiet, anonymous seasons disqualify you, Jesus never qualifies. And the reason we miss the blessing is that we just label it ordinary. It's just a broom. It's just kids ministry. It's just a parking lot. I'm just a greeter. No, it's divine appointment. It's divine privilege. But all of that gets crowded out. It's all good advice, but it's so hard to live. Why? Because we're busy. We're busy. We're so busy. And we are dopamine trained. We are wired for instant reward. We're wired for visible affirmation. We're wired for public recognition. That's why, to what I spoke about earlier, that's why you like scrolling through social media, because it gives you a little dopamine hit. Just makes your brain just light up a little bit. Just a little happy buzz in your brain. Oh, I like to see that. I want to see more. We are trained to pursue dopamine. And hidden service feels unrewarding to a dopamine-trained brain. But heaven rewards what earth ignores. And so if you're living by the dopamine reward cycle in your brain, then you're going to be perpetually unfulfilled by ministry. Because I'm just going to be really honest with you that there are days that I go home and I look in the mirror and I ask myself, why would any sane person do this with their life? I could be doing a whole lot of other things, for sure making a whole lot more money, and dealing with a whole lot less nuts than I am. I don't know why. Why do people do this? The reason that people do this is that you realize that there's a fulfillment that comes in giving a yes to God that nothing else you will ever do, no matter how high you climb, no matter how successful you are by any earthly metric, there is a fulfillment that comes from giving God your yes. Period. That's the whole story. That is the whole ball game. There is a fulfillment that you will only ever know at the point that you just say, God, whatever you want, my answer is yes. It is a predetermined yes. I made up my mind a long, long time ago that when it came to serving and opportunities, that I was just going to always be the first guy in the room to put up my hand and say, yeah, I'll do that. I pre-decided it. I predetermined it. And everything that God has done with my life has come on the other side of a decision that I made as a teenager, that I'd just always be the guy putting my hand up saying, yeah, I'll try. I don't know if I can do that. And I'm telling you, it has changed the entire trajectory of my life. You have to decide beforehand. Oh, Pastor, I'll pray about it. Newsflash, God's never going to tell you to not work in His kingdom. No, please don't do that. Please don't make a difference with your life. Please don't live sacrificially. That's not going to be the answer to the prayer. You're not praying, you're stalling. There are things I don't have to pray about because I pre-decided if God opens the door, I'm going to walk through it. If somebody needs help, I'm going to say, yeah, I'll be there. If you need to move a sofa, I got a truck. Let's go, baby. I'm coming. Tell me where to be and when. I want to live that kind of life. In the natural and in the spiritual. And what you learn is if you'll be faithful in a few things, God will then elevate you to a position where you become ruler over many. But it comes with first just deciding, I'm going to walk through the open door. I don't have to pray about it. I've lived praying about it. I've prayed God would open the door. Now He's doing it. So I'm going to run through it with my hands up saying, yes, if you need me, I'm here. If you open the door, my answer is yes. Pastor, you want me to do that? Sure, I'd love to. I don't have the slightest idea how. But my answer is yes. Stand with me if you will. Matthew 6 says, where your treasure is, there your heart will be. What does that mean? That means if you show me what you put your heart into, I know what you value. And we live in a day where we say all of the right things about God and about His kingdom, and about church and about service and sacrifice. But when you start evaluating where our time, talent, and treasure go, the reality of our decisions is at odds with what we say with our lips. If you want to know who you really serve, look at your clock and calendar. What are you making room for? What are you pushing this back to create room for this? And look, I'm not suggesting you all go home and quit your jobs. You got to work, you got to provide for your family. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying in those discretionary hours, and it may just be 1 or 2 a day, what are you doing with the discretionary time in your day? And if it's as simple as just saying, you know what, Pastor, I'll dust mop the floor in the Life Center. Is that a worthy use of time? I don't know. You tell me. Is it a sacrifice that you can do as unto the Lord? And is it preparing the house for brand new people to step in and meet Jesus for the first time? Because if it is, then baby, it is an extraordinary use of your ordinary time. It's an extraordinary use of your ordinary time. Isaiah 6 and 8 says this, and I'm closing. Also, I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send, and who will go for us? And I said, here am I, send me. Just that simple. Just that simple. My answer is, here am I, send me. Pastor, whatever you need, here am I, send me. God, whatever you want me to do, here am I, send me. I'm predetermining that right now. You make the decision today, then you wait for the opportunity. Then you wait for the door. Pray while you wait. But when the opportunity comes, don't stall and say, oh, I need to take 6 months and pray about this. No, you should have been praying about this already. I've been praying about this for years. I'm making the decision today that the answer is yes. God, here am I, send me. Choose me, God, I'm here. Would you bow your heads with me right now? Can we just begin to pray all over this house? Here I am, God, send me. God, use me. Whatever you want me to do, God, if you'll open the door, I'll step through it. However ordinary, however much I have to deal with, God, whatever lack of praise is there, it doesn't matter. I'm not doing it for praise and applause. I'm doing it for you. It's a sacrifice of worship as unto the Lord. Come on, we're about to end this day, and we're going to go home, and you're going back to regular life. And I just think before we do that this could be an altar moment where you make some decisions once and for all and say, God, I'm about to enter a new season where I am comfortable with anonymity, I'm comfortable without applause, and I'm comfortable without praise. But I just want to do something with my life that matters and something that's eternal. If that's you right now, will you just begin talking to God all across this room? If you want to step out and join me at the front, that's fine. If you want to find a place to kneel and pray, let this be an altar you construct where you say, God, I'm ready, I'm willing, I'm waiting, I do this for you, God. I lay my life down at your feet and say, God, if you can use me, if there's anything I can do, however simple, I just want to be a part of it. Some of you, one of the most sacred things you'll do coming out of this weekend is a conversation with your pastor to say, Pastor, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready to step up. I'm ready to step out. I'm ready to step in. I'm ready to move. I'm ready to move. Come on, just talk to him all across the room right now.